What's up, guys? It's Silent, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the True Exclusive podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. He's a legendary choreographer, a legendary manager, a legendary creative director. I mean, he's worked with some of the top names in the industry, from Mariah Carey to Brandy to Beyonce to In Vogue. I mean, the list goes on, and I am so excited to have him on the show today. We're going to get to know a little bit more about his journey. And with that being said, let's stop talking and let's bring on Frank Gatson to the show. Frank, what's up? How are you doing?
Oh, what's up? I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm doing pretty good. You know, life be lifing,
Yeah.
but we got to keep it pushing, right?
Life is strange. Let's say that. It's very strange.
So, I mean, let's get straight to it. You've been in the industry for over 35 years. Can you take me back to the very moment you realized you wanted to be a part of what we call showbiz?
I started dancing and singing in January of 1981, I think, like where I was traveling. I had done stuff in high school. So just to make the years right, I was in high school from 72 to 76. And then I was in college from 1980, no, wait, 1977 to 1980, 4-year college, right? So so I graduated in 76 and then I graduated from college in 1980. Okay, got it. That's what happened. So then right after that, I was able to go with this group called Up with People, and we started putting that show together in January of 1981.
Do you remember the first time like, what was the first thing you saw, or something that inspired you to be like, wow, I want to be part of this business?
Well, what I saw first that made me understand that I like show business, but I didn't know it was show business. Okay. I guess it was when I was 12 and I directed my mother's heavenly host choir at church, you know. And then from there, I went to junior high school and we had this thing called the Brothers Precision Team. So that's seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade. It was like 100 guys, and we wore like black tams, red shirts, ascots, and we did this choreography stuff and we were being the aisles with long lines. You know what it was like? It was like fraternities. Okay. But we were called a drill team. And we did these really cool steps. It was like 100 of us in high school, me in junior high. And then when I went to high school, I guess I became a star being the robot man. Isn't that weird? Like that's 72, 73, 74. And I wish I could find footage of that. I had this routine that I would come out, the girls would scream. It was unbelievable. So that was my taste. And then the other thing that I did, me and my sister used to do this thing called bopping. Chicago people call it stepping. And we would do this thing like Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, and I would win all the dance contests around Milwaukee. So I guess that's show business too, but just didn't realize what it was or how to really do it professionally.
And what were some of the artists you were listening to back then that maybe inspired?
Oh, I used to love to bop. That's what the stepping thing in Milwaukee is called, bopping, Boping. And yeah, bopping. And I used to love Reasons by Earth, Wind and Fire, or Always and Forever. You could bop to that. You could bop to That's the Way of the World. So Earth, Wind and Fire was really big, I guess. Earth, Wind and Fire. Yeah. I like that a lot. And then, it's Confunction and people like that. But I don't know why I remember Earth, Wind and Fire so much. They had Devotion, True Devotion, da 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 da. The Reasons, they were incredible to me. And of course the Jackson 5, because I think that's where I learned the robot from, is from Michael Jackson.
And there was a point where you ended up working for Michael. What was, how did that whole situation
Yeah,
happen?
we were really skipping. Okay, yeah. Uh, 19, but let me just, my life is so incredible, man. I need to laugh about it because when you say things, I can just come with all these stories. It's like good stories. Like, okay, when I was in college in 1988, no, wait, okay, I'm getting mixed up. My years, 76, I went to college in 1980. So 1981, 82, or 8, or 19, no, probably 1978. In 1978, when I was in college, I went to visit my aunt in Carson, California. And I wanted to go find out where Michael Jackson lived. All I knew is that he was in Encino. So I got the map, went down to 405, and found Encino exit. I was like seconds away, but couldn't find the house. Now living in LA, I know exactly where the house was. It was on Havenhurst, but I got like 4 minutes from the house. So that's me being a fan of Michael Jackson and the Jackson Five. So I don't know why I wanted to go to their house. It's just, I guess I was just a kid that wanted to go to the house. And plus, I had seen The Wiz on Broadway. I'm forgetting that. I had seen The Wiz on Broadway, not The Wiz with Michael Jackson, The Wiz with Stephanie Mills. Hinton Battle played the Scarecrow. Now, that's when I knew I wanted to be in show business. That's 1976. It's so confusing, but you still don't think you can do it. You think it's for some chosen people or something, you know? And so I got the Wiz to Flying Monkeys. I wanted to do that. I thought that was cool. My dad wanted me to go to law school. So I go visit my aunt in California in 78. And I try to find the Jackson's house. Couldn't find that. Now, the first time I worked with Michael Jackson is in 1986. Yeah, 1986. I auditioned for Smooth Criminal. That was a job I had. I mean, I auditioned for it and I got it. You know, I mean, I was new to LA and I got it. And it was on then. It was like I got around all these amazing dancers and but I had moved to California to choreograph a pageant for a girl I met in Up With People, you know, and she told me. Also, I had gone to New York to study a little bit. I wasn't that great because the dancers in New York, they were amazing. They had studied since 10, you know. So I just started studying. So I was humbled. I had to come back home. I came back home in 1982, 83. It's just a lot. It's just so much. It's so hard to explain it all because it's so jumbled up. But I met Michael to answer your question in 1986, November.
Can you talk to me about that moment of getting humbled? Because I feel like that is a big
Oh,
part of a creative's process.
oh, can I talk to you about it? My goodness. Okay, when I was with Up With People, it was 100 of us. Okay, does that make sense? It was dancers and singers from all over the world, and we were called Up With People. And what happened? It was like I was the token black. You know, it's like two black guys in it and maybe three black girls, and everybody else was from Sweden, Mexico, Spain, America. You know, Germany. You know, I met them all. You know, because we were an international group to build bridges of understanding between races and cultures. So I did all the dance numbers. I did the country western dance, I did the Spanish dance, I did the Mexican dances, I did the Irish dance, and then I played James Brown. I even had a rap song called "Shape It Up, Shape It Down," um, and I was good. But I was good because of the little stuff I had done in the fraternity. Oh yeah, I'm an alpha. Alpha Phi Alpha is my fraternity. I didn't know that was choreographing when I put steps together for that back in 1978 and 79. That I was choreographing. And so I could catch on to stuff pretty quickly. And so now I've I finished Up With People by going to SeaWorld. It's so wow. SeaWorld in Orlando, California. In Orlando. Wait, where did I do SeaWorld? Not San Diego. I did Orlando. Orlando. And that's how I left Up With People. There was Up With People cast that was stationary at SeaWorld. SeaWorld had just built this big stage. And I was good in that show. I was the token black again, you know. So now I want to go to New York. I want to go to Broadway. I think I can make it. You know, I want to go. I gotta go. And so I go to New York, and I enrolled in Alvin Ailey. Okay, and I started. You know, I just wasn't that good. I didn't have the technique. I didn't. You know, the dancers had been training since 10 years old, so it was humbling. I had to get a job. I was 5 seconds from working at McDonald's. I'll never forget that. And I had a college degree already, and I met this guy who auctioned stuff. Like when I worked with them, I forget the name of the company. They sold, you know what a merry-go-round is with the horses, Ferris wheel, not Ferris wheel, merry-go-round. You know the merry-go-round, the carousel.
Carousel, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So in New York, um, they had tore down something in Central Park, and I got with this auction firm, and they were selling the horses for thousands and thousands of dollars. So that was a job I had. It was a weird job because I kind of drove a truck and worked in made them, got the auction stuff together for them, but I had some money. Okay, so I started studying. I went to Broadway Dance Center. I went to Alvin Ailey. I went to Steps. Really, was able to take these men classes, all men classes at Alvin Ailey, but still, I was not as good. I remember getting an apartment uptown in New York. I subleased it. I didn't really like dogs, but I had to keep the dog. And but I just wasn't as good. I was not good. I could dance, but it was this technical aspect that I didn't have. I didn't take the ballet. I didn't take the jazz. I didn't take the tap. You know, I didn't take the modern, and so I starved and had to come back home to Milwaukee. It was humbling. But when I came back to Milwaukee, I was ambitious. I enrolled in the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee and got a master's in theater and dance. Okay, and then that allowed me to go to LA. I got some technique now, and I booked Michael Jackson. But just to be in New York thinking I was so great was just a humble experience because okay, you're not as good as these mugs. Okay, so that was humbling for me. Oh, I forgot. I would drive down to Chicago because Milwaukee's close to Chicago. I would drive down to Chicago and I would take classes there from Joe Hall, Joseph Holmes, because I think that's the thing about going to a big city like LA or Atlanta or New York. You get around better dancers, you get around better singers, you get around better actors. And so Chicago had that, but it still wasn't like New York and it still wasn't like LA. So I was hungry for it. Once I got that bug by traveling with other people for 2-3 years and singing and dancing and knew that I could do it really well and people were clapping for me, I was I was stung. I said I got to do this, but still, you have to you got to study. You got to be good. You got to have connections, and like my big break was Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal, like that.
So going from the humbling times to booking the Michael Jackson video, what was that like for you personally?
I don't tell many people this, but I'm going to tell you. Okay, uh, I really don't. Oh no, I call it being Superman. TWA is the red one. They don't exist anymore, but they were Trans World Airlines. We used to have this saying. It was called thieves, whores, and alcoholics. Anyway, so anyway, they had a strike, and they were just hiring flight attendants like that. So when I graduated from University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, I became a flight attendant, but I told no one. I told no one. And I would fly out to Paris to auditions. I would go to auditions in Amsterdam. I would go to auditions in London. I would go to class in London. I would just show up. And I had a car I had bought, and it was based. They made me be based in New York, but what was I was a scab, I guess. These people were on strike. We young folks came in there, and they gave us seniority quickly, so I could fly anywhere I wanted to. So I would always only fly on the weekends. But no one knew, and I had my Ralph Lauren TWA flight attendant uniform. I would stuff it in my bag when I go to dance class, and I was a flight attendant. And they were like, "Why is this guy everywhere? He comes to all the auditions. He's at all the classes. Because I had these wings. I could fly for $10. I could fly for free. And I did that for 1 year, and then so that's January to November, and I booked the Michael Jackson. Then I played hooky from work, and then I quit.
Oh my God, that was
Yes.
smart as hell, though.
Oh, it was brilliant. I have to say that it was brilliant. And then but my roommate in New York was a really good dancer. Once I was based in New York. What do you call that? Your domicile, you know. And so his name was Kenneth Steele. So he really hooked me up. Once I got my I forget a really important thing. Okay, I'm the flight attendant, right? Kenneth Steele, my roommate, he books bad. Okay, now I was on a flight. Yes, yeah, like he's in that. He's Kenneth Kenny Still, and I'm like, wow, you booked that, but I was away on the trip when that audition happened, so I couldn't go to that audition. But isn't that weird? I could have been in bad maybe if I would have been in town. But he had a secret. He says, Frank, they're doing an audition in L.A. for Smooth Criminal because they didn't tell you that it was a Michael Jackson audition. The only reason I knew is because of Kenneth Still. Okay, so I crashed audition, and I didn't even have it 8 by 10, Frank. I had a picture with my sister, and I cut her out of it, and I gave it to Vincent Patterson. And once I booked the job, he gave me that picture back too. I never forget that.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So you booked that. What is that feeling like for you? Because at the time, this is like Michael Jackson too.
I mean, you know what? I was happy. I was happy. I couldn't believe it. Um, and that job worked for 48 days. Okay, that's how long we shot that music video. It was like, just imagine. I think that's why my standards are so high, and I demand excellence. Is I got to see it at its best. You know, we would come on set every day. We would put on makeup. I had a double breasted suit. If you ever see the video, you see me look through the stairs at Michael when he comes through the doors. I have a part. I'll show you all my little shots. You know, I had a few shots, but we were dressed to the nines. We like makeup, hair, everything. It was just. I remember going over Laurel Canyon every morning to get to that job. It was shot in Culver City at Culver Studios. You know what dailies are?
Yes.
Okay,
But can you explain that for the people who don't know?
okay. Dailies are when you shoot something the day before. They'll sh- they don't really show it to the dancers. They show it to the producers and the directors. They show the footage they shot the day before. But the Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal dailies were so amazing. We found out about them. We would run to the cafeteria, get our lunch, and they would let us watch the dailies every other day. Every day there was dailies from the day before. So dailies are the footage, all the raw footage they shoot of the dance number. That stuff is more brilliant than the video would ever be. You understand? Okay. When I see Smooth Criminal, I think it's incredible, but it's not like seeing those dailies. You saw and they shot it for like 40 days. So remember that scene where he comes and they flip the guy with Michael steps over the guy. They must have shot that for 3 days straight. Just that scene. I have a scene where I run through the club and I do a gunshot, and the guy does a back handspring out of it, and I put the gun down and I go like that to Michael. It's right there when he's dancing with the girl in the red dress. They shot that for 2 days. But and when you shoot music videos now, you got to shoot it in one day. Okay, we shot that video for
And
40 days.
multiple scenes in one day.
Exactly. So that was incredible. That was that, and I know the way that they made the guys lean over. Uh, when they do this thing here, they had that audition for that scene on the set. That audition for that scene was on the set. I was new, so I didn't get the audition for that section. But this friend of mine named Lavelle Smith did, and he should have been in that section. I don't know why Vincent Patterson didn't put him in that section. He was, you know why he should have been in that section? Because when he was auditioning for that section, he was chewing gum, like doing the steps and just chewing gum. Just Michael Jackson came back the next day chewing gum like Lavelle Smith. It was just like, yes, But Lavelle went on to tour with Michael after that, though. Michael and Lavelle were very close. Lavelle Smith was supposed to be involved with This Is It. And matter of fact, people don't know that. Like, no disrespect to Kenny Ortega, no disrespect to Travis Payne. Many people don't know this. I like you, Frank. I'll tell you some stuff that I should say for my movie. But in November before Michael passed away, Lavelle Smith was the choreographer for This Is It. He had asked me to co-choreograph and creatively direct that show. But I was busy with Beyonce. You can't make it up, you know. And I missed out on a great opportunity. Um, and I was going to be unbusy in January, and so some way Travis and Kenny Ortega ended up doing it, which is they were incredible. Um, but I know one thing: I would have tried my best if I saw Michael was being kept from his family. I've been the one crazy motherfucker who would have been like, "Yo, come into the window tonight," because I think they were keeping him away from his family when all that stuff went down. That's something really dark. Somebody was keeping him away from the family.
What do you think about how they're preserving his legacy? Do you think they're doing a good job or
It's undeniable. Michael Jackson's legacy is undeniable. There's some people that will hate, um, but I'm just glad I got to be around the man. I remember when we did something dangerous for Dick Clark. where I did get to creatively direct and co-choreograph with Travis and Lavelle. And and I remember one day Michael said to me, Frank, don't believe in the politics. It was a light that we wanted a light that shines down on you like a xenon light. It's called a xenon light. It shines straight down like a tent. Michael was just really, he was a big kid. And I think that people, he gets a bum rap sometimes. Like I was working with an organization recently here in Milwaukee, and they made me take his post down. I had said happy birthday, and I was like, really? And so it's amazing how black people don't stick together when someone's accused of something. If the man was found unguilty, he's unguilty. Okay, he's not guilty. Okay, that's the bottom line. But some people still make him be guilty of things, and I think that's just so sad. I love Michael Jackson to death. I think he's incredible. Let me rewind a little bit. The reason I love the Jackson family so much is the Jackson family, they taught me that I could make it. I remember Katherine Jackson came to the set on Smooth Criminal. I tell this story all the time. And Michael Jackson's mom was eating popcorn and she was watching us. I call it rich popcorn. They were out there eating the popcorn, her and a friend of hers. And you know how women do like this to the salt on their finger? They're eating it. They go, and I saw Katherine Jackson do that. I said, damn. I said this to myself on set. They niggas just like us. My mama does that. and I knew because of her just eating that popcorn, this can come true. Isn't that weird? Because they became human to me. Uh, and then skip ahead, 20 years later, Chris Grant was with me. Well, I don't know the date, but it was at Catherine's house. Michael has died, so this must be like 2015. I tell TJ, Tito's son, the story I just told you. He says, and I'm at Catherine Jackson's house. You can't make this up. I'm at Catherine Jackson's house. Beautiful house. I want to say where it is, but it's a beautiful house. And TJ says, Frank, please go in the kitchen and tell grandma that story. Please, please. And I get to go in the kitchen. I get down on my knees. She's eating breakfast. And all the security was in the kitchen and some other friends. They're like, who is this crazy guy? And I get on my knee like I'm proposing. I said, Miss Jackson, I remember you came to the Smooth Criminal set and you were eating popcorn. You did like this. Do you know that woman was eating toast and she turned around and did the same thing with the toast crumbs when I told her the story? Like that's how magical my life has been. I don't know how we got into that story, but you said something, what did you say? Well, why did I tell you that? Oh, Michael's legacy. Forget people. Michael is forever. And people are talking about, I compare Beyonce to Michael Jackson, but not like his talent. I compare the gift, and I compare her work ethic. I compare, when I first met her in 19 what year was that? 86? No, not 86. I'm mixing these years up. 1997 when I first met Beyonce. Damn. And I walked into that rehearsal, Frank. I walked out of that rehearsal after being there for 3 hours. I said, I just met the second coming of Michael Jackson. And people say, are you tripping? I said, watch. And and I, so it's just like her, Brandy are comings. Like they're see, but Brandy's coming is her own. People are gonna always compare you to her vocal ability and her who she is. You understand? This girl came out with a first album and just killed the game, and then she gets called the vocal Bible. You understand? Like that's deep. That's really deep. So Brandy always, Frank, you never compare me to Michael. I said because you are like your own Michael. You understand? So people will always compare the next incredible vocalist to you. But the thing about Michael and Beyonce, they were both Virgos, and they just did the work. I can't explain it. They were fair, they were nice, they were sweet. Beyonce was the type of person sometimes when you would work with her when she was in Destiny's Child, if the group didn't look good as a unit, she would like change that step. We all gotta look good. She was fair. And Michael was like that too. Michael was fair in the sense of his brothers. Like Marlon can't do that, or We got to change that. Where's the hatch, Frank? Where's the coat? Let's rehearse. So Michael was just incredible. And then a lot of us, we don't realize how great Michael was when he was 5 and 7 and 6 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12. Go look at some of that stuff. That stuff is on a. I mean, Michael might have been better then than he did when he. Now, Thriller is amazing, and he's done some amazing things. But when you look at that little guy, I just watched something on Netflix the other day. It's called Save the Children, and Stan Lathan, a director friend of mine, he directed it. And Michael Jackson 5 is at this show it's called an expo. They come out there, those girls go crazy for Michael in Jackson 5. And they were so good. Those steps were so good. They were dancing with chords. No, not a cordless microphone, with a cord, putting it behind their back, spinning around, coming out of it. Incredible. Incredible. So Michael when he but also me being Frank Gatson, and I say this in my humble voice, I wish I had a record company. I would find me another Michael Jackson. I know a gift when I see it. You understand? You know, and I would, and what's so weird about these K-pop groups, they're all trying to create a Michael. They start them out at 5, training them and stuff like that. Why can't we do that with some of our young kids? And that's why I want to build this performing arts center in Milwaukee. There's no way, females, you can be mad at me what I'm getting ready to say. There is no way that a female group should be bigger than a black male group. I'm only being in the black department, okay? A black male group should be bigger than a black female group, because the male group is going to have more demographic. The girls are going to love them. The straight men are going to love them. The gay men are going to love them. The white girls are going to love them, because you don't see a straight guy loving a girl group, really. I'm sorry. They may think they're cool. They may want to take their girlfriend to it. But a black male group that's like the Jackson 5, they shut it down. They shut it down. And then you have the NSYNCs, but that's a white world. I'm talking about the black world. And it's so weird to me, and I know I'm going to get in trouble with this. Those K-pop groups, they're doing soul like our young black groups do. That's what they're doing. That stuff is soulful that they do. They study it. They're so proud of it or something. They admire it, and they do the work. They do the rehearsals. They have the good microphones. They have the good sound systems. They understand like they're not a Church of God in Christ group. I have this saying: a Church of God in Christ group, they may have the terrible microphone, they may have the terrible sound system, but when you're a pro, you got to have the best of everything. But first, you have to know about what the best is. So once again, why do I know that? Because I did Smooth Criminal in 1986, and I'll never forget that mess. That was incredible. I mean, they had walls they could take off. They take that wall away and just shoot from that way. The whole set was built from scratch. I think I have the right, as someone who's done this for 100 years, and I'm only speaking about my lane, show business. Show me some choreography that's interesting as Smooth Criminal. Show me some choreography that is interesting as Thriller. Okay, you understand? Where's the interesting stuff? Nothing blows you away today. It's all the same three-trick pony. And I want to see something interesting, like Thriller. Thriller still is top of my list. I gotta say this. Rihanna Super Bowl was some of the best choreography I've seen in a long time. My hat's off to Paris. I forgot about her. I got in trouble when I said this. Everybody, talked bad about me. What about your Super Bowl, Frank? My Super Bowl was good, yeah, with Beyonce. It was great. But that one that Paris did with Rihanna, that was incredible. Because I'm creative. Whoever would have thought to dance in the air? All that space. Okay, I'm amateur compared to Paris and them, because we danced on the football field. I had done that with other people in the 1980s, the football field. But she looked at that space, or whoever looked at that space, and said, "Let's dance up there." That's the most space in the stadium. You got to give that credit. Incredible. And I guess that's why she's on fire. She's doing everything. God bless her.
What is that process like to creative direct from a mere thought and just kind of go through each thing and then see it all come to life at the end.
To creatively direct something and see it all come to life at the end is incredible. But you can't be arrogant about it. You have to be humble about that because this is your concept, your baby that you're making. And I learned this a long time ago. Now, I guess it's a long time ago, is when Beyonce and myself did Deja Vu. You know, we had done Deja Vu for the BET Awards and people loved it. Okay. Never forget it. We put a lot of work into it. Then we went and did a video, Deja Vu, in New Orleans, and it was just Beyonce and Jay-Z in the video, but people didn't really like it. Because so these are two things I creatively directed. I thought the video was incredible, Deja Vu, but it was something about they were used to seeing her with dancers and not just by herself dancing. And she killed it. And but so from that lesson learned, I was like, okay, I'm going to put this baby out here. They may not like it, but God, hopefully they like it. And I call myself a commercial whore. I'm a commercial person that has to sell this concept to the world. You understand? Crazy in Love is something I feel like really blew my mind that creative worked. Okay. Single Ladies, it really blew my mind that creative really worked. Um, even Brandy's I Want to Be Down, this step that Todd made up. I said, Todd, we need something. Todd Sam's made that up, but I pulled it out of him. You understand? And people still do that step, So you have to be you can be confident. And I'm just weird like that. I watch everything. I was a shy kid. That's probably why. So you just never know. They're gonna like it or not like it. Okay. And you can never be like, oh, they're gonna love this. Like there's so many incredible albums that have just gone to waste because maybe it wasn't marketed right. There are so many music videos that should have won choreography awards over me because it wasn't edited right. It's so many variables that go into it. I wish God would give me a label. If I had a label, we wouldn't sell audio.
What do you mean?
Audio? Why people sell audio? They like think about it. The audio is like a dinosaur. Remember when we were younger, we would go to the record store and buy like a CD, and you could have or a cassette tape in my days, and they'd have a cappella on there. They would have the instrumental on there. They would have a remix sometimes, and you take it back home. You and your friend would mix it, and you would play it at your party. But you have your own version of the song. You know, like look at that. See that TV back there? They have TVs or flat screen TVs, right? People should sell the footage. No one should ever say, "Have you heard Brandy?" No one should ever say, "Have you heard Beyonce?" They should say, "Have you seen them?" Okay. And the reason I think about I've done 3,000 music videos in my life, and it's always amazing to me when I do a music video. There's like 5 hours of footage, 2 hours of footage, and the world sees 3 minutes. So, and have you ever seen a video where you saw a good looking a girl or a good looking guy or a great dance number, and you say, I want to see more of that dance number. I want to see more of that pretty girl. They have that footage. So sell it. So now in this new world that I'm talking about, you got to get an artist that can really bring it when they get on the camera. Like right now, I be looking at how I look right now, because I've been around all these artists that I know how to do the beauty work. I know how to make sure it's honest. I don't know how to edit, but I know how to go into the editing bay. You could give me a better shot. Let's go through all the footage. Let's go through the whole hour. Like Run the World, Beyonce. There's 14 hours worth of footage. 14 hours. Okay. And so what a waste. So now you should be able to go to the store. I'm going to buy, you know what I want to call it? I want to call it a Gatson. I'm going to get me a Gatson. And on this thing, you go buy it at the store. People say, Frank, you should download it. I don't want to download it. You need an you can download it, but you got to get the internet and all that. I want to go to the store and buy this little drive, and it's the album. No, it's the Gatson. And you can get all the footage of every video. the dance number if they dance, the good looking guy, and you can come back home, put it into your computer, and edit. So now when we come to the party, you don't have Jay-Z Ain't Crazy in Love. You have just the girls dancing. Okay. It's like it's my destiny to make this come true. And people say, Frank, why you keep telling people about that? They're gonna steal your concept. I don't care. Because when they steal the concept, everybody's gonna work. Now the director is gonna get the same money the producer gets from the record. Because now the visual is just as important as the lyrics. Think about it. Think about it. This is like you can buy movies. Netflix is doing it. They making money. Max TV is doing it. Disney is doing it. Why isn't the music company doing it? Why was the music company forced to stream stuff? And then now they're robbing the poor kids. Like come on. You want now the audio. You don't want a second generation of the visual. You want I know you've done this 100 times. Frank, I need a high def picture of you. Don't text it, email it. Or better yet, hand it to me on a drive. Okay. Same thing with the footage. I want the footage that's good so it looks good on my flat screen TV. Okay. I want the footage that's innovative like Thriller. But everybody will make money. The makeup people, the choreographers, the producers, and you because one thing about movies, when they're great, you can't count that money. Avatar. So I know people. Everybody in charge is too. Everybody in charge is trying to be too cute. Everybody in charge is trying to be like the star. Okay, like no. The Clive Davises and the L.A. Reids and people like that. No, why isn't there a good-looking male group? That is a no-brainer. Frank, I don't know. You don't even get all these little stories out of me. It's just that I know I have lived this. I have done this 4 generations. And nothing compares when you see Gladys Knight and the Temptations and they were doing it in their own way, but that's the dinosaur stuff. Why did everybody else move along and you're selling audio? Oh, I got a new album coming out. Okay. And then the radio station should just go away. You don't need a radio station. You should be able to punch in the visual at the club or wherever and you see the video. Oh wow. Who re-edited that video? Kids can do contests, edit Brandy's video, edit Beyonce's video, edit Usher's video, you know, because they're doing it anyway. Instagram, just people just on Instagram, seeing everything they want to see, and the label is streaming some shit and robbing people. Unacceptable.
It's kind of like you said, movies are doing it how where you can pick a different ending.
Exactly. They've been doing it. And movies are making money
How are you able to stay relevant in
because
an
I'm a
industry
commercial
that's
because I'm
constantly
a
changing?
commercial
I'm a
whore.
commercial.
Yeah. I'm looking at everything. You know who I think is incredible? People be like, you whack, Frank. What's that young kid, El Chopper? NLE Chopper. I think he has so much nerve, and it takes nerve to do this business. Yeah. And he's a star. Then people say, well, he can't rap. Well, what is rapping? Like that's his genre. That's what he's doing. Like but I pay attention to stuff like that. I think that Glorilla woman is incredible, but it's her spirit that's incredible. You know, just this is joy when she comes. There's just joy around. Those things matter. Once again, I know if I, I do a lot of things, Frank, but my gift is to see. You know, that's why I'm against designer stuff. Like why? Like I always have this saying. I see this girl with this $30,000 Birkin bag. I'd be like, does she have cavities? Like, why is that bag so important? That's the mix up, especially with my folk, black people. Stop being caught up with that. I love a good deal. I love to go to the Macy's and get me a suit when they're on sale. I love it. Okay.
Can you tell me about the first time you met Brandy?
Yes. I remember it like it was yesterday. Screenland Studios on Burbank. There was 2 Screenland Studios, Screenland 1, Screenland 2. And how did who wanted me to work with her though? That was really great that people would always want me to work with the artists like Tevin Campbell and Brandy are like around the same time I got to meet Tevin, then I got to meet Brandy. And I don't know, I think the director of the video wanted me to help with the first video. That's what it was. And and she came to Screenland Studio and I said, perform, you know, and she did her little thing and she was trying to give an Aaliyah vibe. I remember that, you know. And I was like, is that you? And and I guess she admired Aaliyah. You know, that's how anybody is. You know, we see things we like and we try to do them. And I said, we're gonna find you. And and I just love that she was well behaved. So it was easy to for her to trust me because I love a young lady to be a young lady, you know, and just you know her mother raised her right, her father raised her right, that was evident, and so that's the first time it was for I Want to Be Down. I mean, I'm so proud when you watch the video, the Letterman jacket that's on the floor. If you ever watched I Want to Be Down, there's a shot Brandy's laying next to a leather a jacket, a Letterman jacket. And it's mine. I put it in the scene because she needed it for a prop. You know, it was just that was a magical time for this young lady to come in there and uh, and then some way I got fired. Brandy just found that out about 3 years ago. Why I got fired? We want to talk about that. We laughed. She said, "Really?" I said, "Yes." You know, and then I came back into her life later. You know, but but anyway, yeah, that's the first time I met her. Screenland Studios.
Can you talk to me about you touched on it a little bit with the dance. Can you just talk to me about that whole process?
Well, it's like 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 it was like Brandy was like 15. She was young. And I remember the concept. They wanted Brandy just hanging out with her, you know, it was a really decent little boyfriend she had in the video. I got all my friends and dancers I had worked with, um, and and it was easy. It was just fun. Ray J was in it. We had that Hummer in it. I remember that, and I just kind of staged it, and gave everybody a little vibes. And then the hook, Todd was one of the dancers in it. And he was a choreographer. Todd Sams used to always choreograph for Usher. And Todd is kind of like a son of mine because Todd had hunger like I never had. He would come back and forth from Cleveland. Any little job I had, he would come to do it. Todd has choreography in Michael Jackson's Dangerous. Many people don't know that. Okay. Uh, I think when they do like this, that's Todd's movement. So Todd was just this kid I had met years ago. He was the choreographer for the Joe Levert. Joe Levert. What was Joe Levert's group name? Wasn't Joe Levert in the group? Something like that. But I just remember Joe Levert and Todd, me and Invo went to a show and Todd had choreographed the show and that's how we met. And so I asked him to help me with Brandy. And so he came up with that. I said, we need like a gesture. I was really good about gesture to the left, to the left. This is a gesture. I think gestures are just something that I feel like um, can put a blueprint on the visual. Once again, like there's a New York article that I did years ago, it's 2007, and it talks about what we're talking about, how I had my hand on the littlest movement can be something that creates a star, and that's interesting. It's really interesting that Brady's not in that article, but that's a movement that it warms my heart when I see people do that stuff. So it was just something very organic. Brandy trusted it. We never knew it would do that. You don't know. And that's something I always go into a project with is trying to give that artist their own blueprint, if that makes any sense. You know, um, I think I just did it for Money Long. Money Long. Many people don't know this is that she just opened for Chris Brown this summer, and I was the creative director, slash choreographer director. she's doing a show, and I talked her into using 3 of my girls from June's Diary. And I was a little upset that the girls were overweight. June's Diary. I was really mad about that. They know I was mad about that. But finally, people got it when they just did Jimmy Kimmel. Money Long and the girls now are like a little brand. It's like Diana Ross and the 3 Little Supreme Girls, or something. And that was always my vision, but I still didn't want them to be overweight, because Money Long is snatched for the gods. Uh, but being voluptuous works. So I was wrong. Everybody ain't got to be thin. There's all kind of sizes of women. They just have to be healthy. So that's something that I'm proud of. That I'm so proud of. I'm proud of what I did with Jimmy Kimmel.
How do you deal with maybe an artist who might be sensitive in the beginning? How do you deal with
Well, my
giving your
disclaimer,
honesty?
I have a disclaimer now when I work with artists. I'm very passionate. If I curse you out the dinner table while we're eating, that's unacceptable. But if I curse during a rehearsal, that's acceptable. Because it's not it's like sports to me. You understand? Like, I remember playing basketball in high school, in college. I wasn't that great, but I remember when you would miss a free throw, the coach would make you do line drills, and he wouldn't be like, "Okay, it's okay that you missed a free throw. Okay, Franco, sit down." He'd be like, "Why the hell you missed that free throw? Do some line drills, do some push-ups." And I look at show business like that. It's like, go make it better. But you have to be so careful today. You got HR, you got people being like, "Frank, you're too hard on them." But this is not like high school. This is not like church. Show business is not right. It's different. But it's such a joy when you do incredible work. It's just something about that makes you just high, for me. I think that's why so many artists are crazy. Fame is a drug. It's a drug. You know, I haven't had fame. I know people know who I am, but I fight fame. I don't want no one hanging around me because I'm Frank Gatson or something. I like genuine people. But show business is wrong. It's wrong, but it's great. It's wrong, but it's great.
Going back to Brandy's first album, what do you remember about hearing her voice for the first time?
I really the first time is all I heard was "I Want to Be Down." I think I hadn't heard any of the rest of the album, but I just never forget when I finally got a hold of the whole album. I was like, wow, this thing is incredible. Like the writing, the arrangements. Was it Keith Crouch who did that? Somebody she worked with. I knew him. It was. That's why once again there's Michael Jackson, there's Brandy. So artists are these trees. So Brandy is this tree called Brandy. She came out with one name. When you got one name, that's major. Her album didn't say Brandy Norwood. It was like Brandy, okay? And then I sat back and just watched her blow up because I knew that voice was hers. Nobody, she don't sound like nobody. And then she could act, and then you see her on Moesha. It was just like right on.
There's always just the debate with Brandy being, you mentioned earlier, being called the vocal Bible. What's your take on that?
I never understood it. I remember the way that I understood it. I'll never forget it. It was in 2000. And do you remember the Mamas, Beyonce singers?
Yes.
The first background singers when they were just blowing. They were playing every Brandy song on a bus ride one time, and they just knew stuff. They knew songs I didn't know. I knew the hits. You know what I mean? And they just explained to me because they were singers, and you're going to respect that from some real singers. They said, listen to her tone, Frank. Listen to that arrangement. Listen to that run. And then I always thought runs were just like over the top, but Brandy's runs weren't. They were like just right there in the pocket, like they need to be, and with finesse. with creativity, and then so that's why I learned, oh wow, singing is like doing choreography. So I got this whole thing because of Brandy. You know what a flat note is, right? I know what a flat step is. You know what a sharp note is. I know what a sharp step is. And I have to credit Brandy for making me know how to hear music better because of what she's done with music. So she's made a rules. She has scripture. That's why I respect the vocal Bible and I get it. But people who don't understand that, and they just don't understand that. Like I was listening to, like I get to vote for the Grammys, right? And I voted for Christmas Party for Two. you know, I was like, I hope this gets nominated. There's a submissions process, and I think there's two other songs on there I voted for too off the Christmas album. And then I got into an argument with somebody on Instagram where they'd been like, well, she should have released a major release. And I'm like, the Christmas album was a major release. What are you talking about? See, so it's something about fans and people today who think they're the A&R people. They think that they're the marketing people. They think that they're the producers. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, once you put a product out, it's a major project. Okay? Like, now maybe it didn't have the marketing it should have because of money or whatever. But it's so weird how, well, she needs to do this. No, B7 is incredible. Go listen to it. Like, I'm so glad we got to do Rather Be. Oh, that song makes you just float. It makes you feel so good. And then we got to do that song for Colors. That just tripped me out. It's amazing. Brandy's not, what's the song we always fight over her doing? Almost doesn't count. I think she wants new music to do. But I said, Brandy, you got to do that song. That song almost doesn't count. Just what it says. Almost doesn't count. And then you sing it like you sing. You better do that song. What's that one with the bass? Top of the World. Which I'm talking about? Top of the World.
Sit in my room or top of the
Sitting
world.
in my room. That one. That's just so fucking funky. She just got incredible music. I don't know why Brandy is so underrated right now. I don't understand that. And I get defensive about it. That's why I got to stop doing. I get defensive. And because I'm seeing it. You understand? I'm seeing it in real time. Like I remember B7 came out and I wasn't in LA. I was in DC at a friend's house because of COVID. We all just hung out at a good friend's house of mine in the Maryland area. And I'll be like, play Rather Be. And they say, aren't you sick of that record? Because I wanted them to experience the ride I was on, and then if you've ever been in love, it's just how it made you feel. I wasn't a fan of Borderline, but I love the song. I like the songs where I feel like I'm in love. If like that's why I used to like Reasons by Earth, Wind and Fire or True Devotion. That's the way of the world. Brandy's music reminds me of how Earth, Wind and Fire made me feel. It makes you feel something. So I get why she's called the vocal Bible. I want to know who came up with that because that's incredible.
It was Stacy Barth.
Oh, really? I know her.
She was pretty much the first person to say that in an interview or something.
That's Stacey's smart too.
Yeah.
She's very smart. That's great. I never knew that.
What
That's
do you
great.
think is the because you have two spectrums. It seems like the industry, like almost every single artist mentioned Brandy as their blueprint, as their inspiration, but she's for some reason not connecting with the average listener. Why do you think that disconnect
What's
is
the
happening?
question? What's the question? I want to
Why do
answer
you
it.
think there's a disconnect between her artistry and the consumer? Maybe.
Okay, I've thought about this already. That's why I thought you asked. That's a perfect question. I think the reason is there's a disconnection with Brandy because people are used to mediocrity. That's it. I thought about it, because one thing when I'm feeling down, I feel like I'm nobody. I go watch begging and pleading, and I didn't do the video, but I did the was that Black Girls Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get them mixed up. Or I go watch when we did the Soul Train when she had the black knickers on and we did that medley. You know what I'm talking about? And we had the all black stage and she had the two boys and she was on top of the ladder. People may like I think somebody talked bad about you. Brandy needs to get rid of you. You got her on top of a ladder, you know, looking like a boy. No, you're just not getting it. Okay. What I love about that, and I don't care if Soul Train gets mad at me. I remember every time I did Soul Train in Vegas, I used to hate that same old set they would use every year. So Brandy trusts me enough. I said, Brandy, let's hide that set. Let's make everything black. Okay, and make a whole void, and we're gonna put your number inside this. And so once again, because people are designer people and buying Maseratis, or I had one, I wish I never bought again in my life, designer bags. I want us to depend on Brandy's talent only on that black void. And then begging and pleading, I remember we were at Alvin Ailey rehearsing that for Black Girls Rock. And she just said, Frank, I want to really act like I'm in a saloon. And I said, oh, I love it. Let's go. Let's do it. And then you got to be careful with that. But then she was singing her ass off too. Okay. It's like oh, we're going to sing too. And she's an actress. It's just a dream come true. So I just feel like people are used to mediocrity. That's it. That's it.
I met you during, I believe, the 211 era of Brandy's.
Right. Right.
And that was an era where a lot of fans loved that era because it seemed, well, not like it seemed, it was obvious that Brandy had come into her own and maybe embraced her confidence. She was just a different person on stage. Can you talk a little bit about that era and what you did with it?
Well, I have to apologize to Brandy by making her be that person. It's interesting you say that. Um, I wasn't hearing what she was trying to be, and I think that's really important as a creative director. And it was great, Wildest. What records are that? 211. That's why is Wildest Dream.
Put It Down, Wildest
Yeah.
Dreams.
Okay. Right. Okay. Like that video, Brandy worked really hard on Put It Down with Chris Brown, and she killed it. That just see that's what's so brilliant about Brandy. If being an artist, like okay, when you think about Janet Jackson, there's always a different Janet every project. The Put It Down project was a different Brandy. Do you agree? Okay, but that was me, and that was her trusting me, but I wasn't really hearing her. I was forcing it on her, and she lets me know that. And I don't know, it still was great, but I think it's so important to hear the artist. Does that make sense? So I just like to apologize because I think Put It Down was great. I think Wildest Dream was great. I think the Wildest Dream video was great. But I think in my life with Brandy, the begging and pleading was where she wanted to go, and I heard her. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is great. It's amazing how great that is. And I think that Soul Train performance, I heard her loud and clear. She didn't want to be the Miss Glamour girl with the heels and the booty out and all that kind of mess. That's why she had the knickers on. That's why she had the flats on. But yet we all sometimes as being creative, we're trying to make her compete with what we think is hot. But there's so many things that are hot. So once again, as experienced as I am, I'm still learning. But I think something I can tell to any young creative director or young choreographer, hear what the artist wants to do first.
Where do you see Brandy's career in the next 30 years?
Once again, just like I haven't done my greatest thing yet, she hasn't done her greatest thing yet. And I think if people start believing in this concept called the Gatson, she can make a visual album that will blow people's minds because she does all the acting, singing, and dancing. You understand what I'm saying? Like that. It's just you just got to get the right record. It's got to be the right timing. You know, it's just that's it.
I want to give you some keywords that I want you to maybe talk about your relationship with that word and maybe give some advice to people who are dealing with this particular word or emotion or whatever. Can you talk to me about your relationship with fear?
Oh wow. Um, I have a lot of fear, and like lately, I've been having this high blood pressure, and I mean, I'm being very honest. I took the pressure like 2 days ago, and it was like really high, and I called myself eating better because I had went to the doctor to eat better. They had put me on some medication, but I don't want to be on the medication. But I'm finding out that my high blood pressure is not coming from um, eating bad and not exercising. It's coming from fear. So fear can give you high blood pressure, you know, and that's just the strangest thing to me. Like really. Does that make sense? So fear is dangerous. It can kill you. And I always tell artists all the time. I guess I heard Whitney Houston one time. I stole this from Whitney Houston. She was telling this background singer, you're really a great singer, but you need to dismiss fear, dismiss the fear. And I've always remembered that. And even I tell people that you need to dismiss fear, but then I can't even do it with myself. So fear is something. That's why you got to rehearse so you can dismiss the fear. And now with this high blood pressure thing, I think I have to start just relaxing about life, and it's not that deep. Why are you going to kill yourself over overthinking and being fearful, Frank? Like that's something that I literally have to teach myself today. And it's just ironic that you asked that question. That's it.
Your relationship with struggle.
With struggle, I that's so weird. Now it's so weird. The fear I'm very fearful of, but struggle I know how to stand still. I always say if I lost everything I have, I would get a job at McDonald's and live in a one bedroom studio. And I guess that would be called struggle. But is that struggle? As long as I'm able to feed myself, I have a roof over my head. But I find that I don't have time to struggle because there's so many people in my family that I help out, and so I think me giving so much to people, this is something I'm going to say. I'm going to go on record and say this. I have done so much for so many artists in my life that I should never struggle. So there's no fear of struggling, not because I need a handout from anybody else, but I'll be fine by going to work in that restaurant and living in that one room, and I'm fine. The humility of that is easy for me.
Your relationship with passion.
Well, I have a lot of passion. I'm passionate. That's how you say I'm too passionate. Oh my goodness. I think I need to control it. Stop being so passionate. I'm too honest. I'll tell you like it is, how it is, when it is, and I think that's passion. I'm passionate, and I look at it as being something that if you're my friend, you should want me to be passionate. If I'm your friend, you should want me to be passionate because when you're passionate, that can take you a long way because you're not going to give up. You're going to stay on it until it's done. I don't know if you've ever seen that um, video of me that went viral when I kind of went off on the dancers because they had lost their hats. I was passionate there because I just didn't understand how they sabotage something by being selfish. You know, I'm never selfish. Like Toni Braxton has a great story she tells people about me. I guess she worked with some choreographer once, and and she asked him. She said it was cold in the room, and and she he looked at her like, "What do you want me to do?" And she said, I've heard this secondhand. Somebody told me the story about Tony saying, if that had been Frank, he would have ran over there and turned that heat up, because I'm passionate about making sure this rehearsal goes. And I have no problem with going to turn the heat on if you're cold. I want to make it very comfortable for any artist. I'll like it's just so mean. Like it's like even in Vogue, they used to go buy me sweatsuits because I would come to rehearsal in some crummy sweats. I've gotten so many bags from people because I come with a grocery bag with my sweats in it. I don't know. I just didn't care about stuff like that. I was passionate about doing a good job on the project. So I'm very passionate, and I think passionate is just is great. But maybe that's why I have high blood pressure because of the fear of something not happening because I'm so damn passionate. So it's all ties together. So I got to control being too passionate, I think.
And you mentioned honesty. That was my last one. Your relationship with honesty.
Oh yeah, I believe in being brutally honest. Not so much in life with people's emotions. Like if someone's overweight or something, and I know they're sensitive about that, I'll beat around the bush because I know they can't handle that. But 99.9% of the time, I'm really honest because I believe my whole life is show business, and I should never blow smoke up someone's butt about show business. I think the honesty is what's. I think the honesty is going to make a person better if they've come to me to be in show business. Um, so I believe in honesty, and also I believe God doesn't like a dishonest person. Like I'm the kind of person that if I threw paper on the ground or someone else threw paper on the ground, I know this has nothing to do with honesty, but I want to go make them pick it back up because I think something bad is going to happen to them. So if I'm not being honest, I think something bad is going to happen to me, and I don't like that, and I don't want that because that's something I've learned about life. It's like even when you make a left, when it says don't make a left turn, like don't make that left turn. Why take the chance to get a ticket? So I want to follow the rules because the rules are important. So honesty is important. Like honesty and honor and integrity and character, that goes a long way with me. And I know a lot of times I'm a lot, but I don't mean anyone any harm. No one. I can dislike you and I still love you. you know, if I tell people if we are in a club and we're gonna fight someone, I'm running. Not because I'm a chicken. Okay, I don't believe in war. You know, I don't believe in capital punishment. Um, I don't think you have the right to kill someone else. Um, but yet I get in. I just think being if you do right, right will come. That's basically what I believe. If you do right, right will come.
What do you hope your legacy to be?
That I share my light with people. That's one thing. You know, that I worked hard and I did things that transcend time. I think that's it. You know, I believe I want things that I've done in my life that will last forever. That's why I admire Michael Jackson so much. I think Michael. One thing that's negative about Michael, I think Michael got his heart broken somewhere, and, and he never recovered from that. That's something have I had my heart broken before? Yes, but never again. You know, so I just want. I don't want no street name after me or nothing like that. I just want to say that was a crazy man, but he meant well. That's what I wanted. That's what I want. I think he meant well. He might have had really crazy ways of getting there, but you always got it with no mixer. It was just always honest and real. I think that's it. Yeah. It's a lot. But like I said, I haven't done my biggest moment yet. You know, I know that because I'm still learning, believe it or not.
Well, I'm excited to witness that. I'm sure we all can't wait to witness that moment along with you.
You have a really easy way of getting stuff out of people because I've told you a lot of stuff I don't tell people. But I'm not ashamed of any of it. I think I'm being selfish. I want to save it for my movie, my story. But
No, listen, you've got a lot more.
I know.
So,
Yeah,
but
I
I
do.
appreciate you sharing what you have shared.
Oh, I do. I think I have about 3,000 VHS tapes, thousands of mini DVs, thousands of DVDs, hundreds and hundreds of drives, and it's and I know I can tell my story through that material. And I got to get to it. Like all the things I've done with the superstars I work with, it's going to be more meaningful for me to help young people. And even if they don't become stars and like that, it's something about the discipline of show business that can help you be a better person. It's something as simple as taking a ballet class. It really makes a young lady become a different kind of young lady. The discipline. I always remember Kobe. He had said to me one time, that ballet stuff, Frank. That stuff is more difficult than anything I've done as a ball player. And I'll never forget that. And it was so amazing that he understood that. And so dance sometimes is just a discipline that will train you to be good at anything you do. People don't know that. And that's why I'm really serious about dance. That's one of my hashtags. Dance is serious business. And I believe that. And I think it's got to step up. That's why choreography categories are not in the Academy Awards or even the BET Awards don't even have a choreography award. And I think so for some reason people don't respect dance. I respect dance. I think it's something that is incredible. And like and before I leave here, that's my goal. Even if it's not me doing it, to help the new generation get it done.